Guys, I guarantee you barbell pants will be the most comfortable thing in your closet. Their athletic fit gives you freedom to move. They are as comfortable as sweatpants. You will wear them all day long. Their construction is second to none, and each pair is guaranteed for a year. For the month of November, Barbell Apparel is going to let you pick the price of your pants. Get them for as low as $99, and Barbell is going to donate up to 100 meals per pair of pants sold. Guys, the pandemic has pushed child hunger to extreme levels. 1 in 4 children are food insecure. You will look good and do good at the same time. Go to barbellapparel.com/Chael. Pick your price and feed the future. Here's a question. How does Jon Jones beat Stipe? I came to this question because I was reading an interview by Coach Winklejohn, and he was very complimentary of Stipe, but he said Jon Jones beats him everywhere. And it just makes you think, right? I mean, if that fight is something we have to look forward to, or even Jon just within the heavyweight division, but eventually you have to start breaking down the X's and O's. The story is very good. Jon Jones, world champion at 205, leaves division to pursue heavyweight. I mean, the story is really good, but at some point, you guys, how's he going to do it? And there was a time, once upon a time, when Jon Jones would just grab you, whoever you were, throw you down, and you were screwed. I mean, that was the MO on Jon. We're seeing that less and less by Jon. Okay, his takedowns are still very good, but we are seeing that less and less. We're seeing a lot more of a struggle there. And by the way, Stipe, for the last 18 months of his life, has gotten ready to compete with the best wrestler in the heavyweight division named Daniel Cormier, who, by the way, took Stipe down one time in 10 rounds. So I think we can give a tip of the hat to Stipe to the fact that he worked on takedown defense, and it turned out he succeeded. 10 rounds with Daniel Cormier, he was taken down one time. I bring that to you because all of a sudden you start to throw out that razor sharp, go to, always count on it takedown by Jon Jones. Not to say that Jones can't get him down once, but I think that we can come to a pretty good conclusion based on what we have seen most recently from both athletes, that to count on Jon to take Stipe down, pretty hard bet. To count on Jon to take Stipe down repeatedly, probably a silly bet. So, okay, if we take that out, now we got more of a stand-up fight. Who wins the stand-up? And I'm not asking you who's better. I know what your answer is going to be. You're going to say Jon Jones, but you're going to use Jon's dynamicness to get you to that conclusion. I'm not asking you who has more skills, who is most likely to throw a wheel kick to the head, who's most likely to hit a spin kick to the body. I'm asking you, straight up, they end up on their feet, the power of Stipe, the reach of Jon Jones. Who's better in terms of who is more effective? And it is a little bit of a hard one. I don't have the answer for you either. I'm just suggesting for you that if we're going to eliminate the takedown, and we admit that they're going to be on their feet, not necessarily by choice, who is the better striker? It's a very real question because, look, when you're talking about Jon Jones, there's a reason he didn't go to heavyweight sooner. It's not as though heavyweight hasn't always been the premier weight class. There's a reason Jon didn't go to heavyweight. I don't know what that was. Jon has been in the practice room with some damn good heavyweights. Brendan Schaub comes to mind. Travis Brown comes to mind. Alistair Overeem comes to mind. Jon sparred with those guys. I'm not suggesting for you that those sparring sessions didn't go well. I don't know. I'm suggesting for you there was something within those sessions that made Jon say, you know what, I'm a 205 pounder. And generally when you're talking about, and maybe I'm personalizing, maybe I'm just putting myself into this, but when you're talking about taking on a bigger guy and not wanting to do it, preferring to go somewhere else, it has to do with the strikes. Who cares if you wrestle a bigger guy? What's that have to do with anything? That doesn't hurt. It's not going to be debilitating. That's not even going to be demoralizing. The striking is a different realm. I mean, it really is a different realm. Even the great boxers, Floyd Mayweather, but he capped out. He didn't go above 160 pounds, didn't even consider it. It was just one of those things. When you're coming with the hands, when you're coming with the knees and the feet and the elbows, this is where that size and that power starts to be very relevant. I don't think anybody's got more power than Stipe. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Ngannou. You win that one, but you still get my point. The ability to move, the ability to be light on your feet, it's Western boxing. Stipe will slip a kick in there every now and then just to make you think. Same thing Cain Velasquez did. Cain was a very intimidating boxer. He'd slip a kick in to make you think. But largely, you're right here. And so I gotta come back to the same question. The reach of Jon Jones, sure. The dynamicness of Jon Jones. I mean, Jon kick you in the leg, kick you in the belly. He'll hit you everywhere. Stipe won't do that. He's gonna use his hands. He's gonna dig your body. He's gonna come upstairs. He's gonna come ones and twos, and he's gonna do it all night long. It would appear, just by knockouts alone, that Stipe clearly has a power edge. Is that power edge enough? And a lot of times what you'll see with the lighter guy, we've even seen this in the boxing realm. I'll come back to the example of Roy Jones Jr. taking on Ruiz. Roy Jones Jr.'s own father asked him not to do it publicly. He said, son, I'm not saying you're not a better boxer than him. I'm saying you're a Volvo and he's a Mack truck. We don't need to do this fight. Roy said, I'm going to do it anyway. Roy went up. Roy gave up the size. Roy was an underdog. That fight wasn't even close. It was a speed issue. Ruiz just simply couldn't touch him and didn't. Roy got on a bike, moved around all night. 12 rounds later, goes home, took Ruiz's title. I offer that for you because more times than not, that is what we see in the striking one. We see the smaller guy come up and be able to touch the bigger guy. Stipe's a tweener. Stipe is the smallest heavyweight champion, not named Randy Couture, of all time. He is the smallest heavyweight champion, period, in the modern era. So this isn't a situation where Jones is going to pop up and just all of a sudden be Mr. Fast, just on the logic and the physicality of being lighter. Jon Jones, by the way, walks around at 225 pounds. That's just what he weighs. Gets in really good shape. He gets even smaller than that. 225 pounds. And has openly said, I want to get bigger. Doing powerlifting, trying to put on size. Gaining weight is just as hard as losing weight. So I suggest for you, if Jon does everything right, and he's not a guy that's got a high level of discipline and ever does anything right, if he were to do everything right, he's going to get to 230. He's not going to get a pound bigger than that. 5 pounds of muscle in a year? No. Without anabolics? No. That everything would be 230. I only bring that to you because Stipe weighs 230. Weighed in at 230 and change for his second fight with Daniel Cormier. Weighed in at 231 for his fight with Daniel Cormier. I bring that to these guys weigh the same. So all of a sudden, at least on logic, speed is not there, which just comes back to the old adage, the reach of Jon Jones versus the power of Stipe. So it's not a simple question to answer, is it? And none of us will know the answer, right? We're going to have to see it to know. It'll all be very clear after we see it. But I think that I've made a very good point in that you're likely to have a stand-up battle. I think if you do go back and you concede to me what happened, which is Stipe went 10 rounds with Daniel Cormier and only one takedown took place by Daniel, a two-time Olympian. I think you're going to agree that Stipe worked on staying on his feet and succeeded. So I don't think Jones is just going to throw him down. Gets to be a very interesting match. Coach Wink has as good of a mind as anybody. But is he right when he says that Jon Jones is better everywhere? And does it matter if he is? Does it matter if Jon is better everywhere if they're going to fight on their feet?